I feel so humbled by the presence of elected officials like my very wonderful friend Kathy Ash, appointed officials, Holly Robinson, who are in the vineyard, have been in the vineyard, and we will stay in the vineyard because our work is not done. Right, ladies? Right. So, in fact, that's the why am I here. When they say, how has she used the data? Let me count the ways. Over the last 20 years, for many of you, she'll say, oh no, right, Ann from United Way. Here comes Ann again. She's going to be telling us that same story in first, now 20th verse of using this extraordinary data, our benchmark or baseline on what it means in Georgia about what are the needs, where are the gaps, and how in the world do we begin to fill them relative to that most precious resource called children. And so what I would love to do in just the next 5 minutes is sort of give to you from the perspective of a business person. Literally also, as we were just sitting at our table, we come as parents, we come as concerned, active citizens, but as a business person, how important it is that we have kids count. Not one of us can go to any funder and ask for 1 penny unless we can prove the so what. What difference are you making? Show me. Data. Kids count. It is such an amazing resource. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about IBM. Hopefully, all of you have seen our Smarter Planet ads. And we are, in fact, looking around to try to create a smarter planet. Because the reality is, I always love these stats and facts, that literally we're an instrumented group. All of us have, and you don't even know it, how many transistors are in your toes, in your shoes, in your iPod, in your BlackBerry, in your refrigerator, in your garage door, and it's growing. The number of literal transistors on your body, get this, 1 billion transistors per person in the world by 2010. That's next year. So we're an instrumented group, right? We're also interconnected. We know this from the sound of the cell phones, of the beepers, of the toes. Again, we are interconnected people. We know that. Every growth and emerging market country in the world is going to leapfrog us and be interconnected. We also know, Kids Smart as Exhibit A, that we're intelligent. There are more sources for data, although not connected, maybe not accurate, and we know they don't come together to treat what we care about most, our children, but we have the intelligence, the data. The question our company asks is, are we smarter? How then do we create societies that in fact can be instrumented, interconnected, and intelligent to create communities that are smarter, that begin to address the critical issues facing our world? The top of the heap is a smarter people. That if we look at that most precious resource called human beings, how do we then create this world, water, air, transportation, education, health care, that creates a space for every child to grow up to be a successful, interdependent person? We in Georgia, gratefully, got the ability, thanks to Casey, to be one of the early states to be able to have the kids count data. The good news is that we see we've made progress. The hard news is that we haven't done enough. So as a company, we still are looking for sites all over the world in which we can invest to create more help desks, bring in more IBMers, create an employable workforce. And in fact, just recently, in January of this year, we realized that the point of intersection on an economy scale was that it was as reasonable to invest in the United States as the Philippines, Brazil, India, or Ireland. So for the first time in 8 years, the U.S. was in the mix to be a site. Guess what? The first time the U.S. won. It wasn't Georgia. It wasn't even North Carolina. It was Iowa. Where is it in the kids count list? Clearly in the top 10. I'm going to tell you they used that data. They also looked at the environment, the policymakers, the legislators, how they use their money, how they connect their resources, pre-K through to advanced ed, all aligned. So as we think about it for our own state, the adage of the last 20 years is the great news is we have the data. The hard news is, what are we going to do about it? We've done a lot, but we have so much more. So our intention is that the awareness will lead to actions, policy, attitudes, culture, practice, procedures, change, which, as we say, Pat, at Voices, to create a climate in our community that every child is safe, healthy, educated, interconnected, and employable so that everyone can contribute to a better quality of life in our state. And so I have to say one thank you, Gay, and to all of you in this room who've been a part of not just Kids Count, but connecting families and community to enhance our state. The question is now, how do we take this to that next level to create the kind of action that will let Georgia leapfrog, just like other growth and emerging market countries, into a place that is not just competitive, but has quality for every child.